When he saw them, he got up to meet and bowed down with his face to the ground. My lords, he said, please turn aside to your servant's house. You can wash your feet and spend the night, and then go on your way early in the morning. No, they answered, we will spend the night in the square. But he insisted so strongly that they did go with him and entered his house. He prepared a meal for them, baking bread without yeast, and they ate. Before they had gone to bed, all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, sounded the house. And they called Lot, where are the men who came with you tonight? Came to you tonight. Bring them out to us so that we can have sex with them. Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him and said, no, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them. But don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof. Get out of our way, they replied. And they said, this fellow came here as an alien, and now he wants to play the judge. We treat you worse than them. They kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break the door. But the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness, so that they could not bind the door. The 2 men said to Lot, do you have anyone else here, sons-in-laws, daughters-in-law, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out here, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry of the Lord against its peoples is so great that he has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were pledged to marry his daughters. And he said, hurry, get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-laws thought he was joking. With the coming down, the angels urged Lot, saying, hurry, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away when the city is punished. When he hesitated, the men grasped his hands of his wife and his 2 daughters and led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. As soon as they had brought them out, one of them said, flee for your lives. Do not look back and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away. But Lot said to them, no, my lords, please. Your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Look, there is a town near enough to run to, and it is small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared. He said to him, very well, I will grant this request too. I will not overthrow the town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it. By the time Lot reached Zoar, the sun has risen over the land. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew those cities, the entire plain, including all those living in the cities, and also the vegetation in the land. But Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah, towards all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land like smoke of a furnace. Then, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham, and he brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. Lot and his 2 daughters left Zoar and settled in the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. One day the older daughter said to the younger, our father is old, and there is no man around here to lie with us, as is custom over all the earth. Let's get our father to drink wine, and then lie with him and preserve our family line through our father. That night they got their father to drink wine, and the older daughter went in to lay with him. He was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. The next day the older daughter said to the younger, last night I lay with my father. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight, and you go in and lie with him, so that we can preserve our family line through our father. So they got their father to drink wine that night also, and the younger daughter went and lay with him. Again, he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. So both Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter had a son, and she named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites today. The younger daughter also had a son, and she named him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Ammonites today. Now Abraham moved from there to the region of Negev and lived between Kadesh and Sur. For a while he stayed in Gerar, and there Abraham said to his wife Sarah, she is my sister. And then Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent for Sarah and took her. But God came to Abimelech in a dream one night and said to him, "You are as good as dead because of the woman you have taken. She is a married woman." Now Abimelech had not gone near her. So he said, "Lord, will you destroy an innocent nation? Did he not say to me, 'She is my sister'? And didn't she say, 'He is my brother'? Have I done this with a clear conscience and clear hands?" Then God said to him in a dream, "Yes, I know you did wish with a clear conscience, so I have kept you from sinning against me. That is why I did not let you touch her. Now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will repay you for with life. But if you do not return her, you'll be sure and that you and all yours will die." Early the next morning, Abimelech sounded all his officials when he told them all that had happened, and they were very much afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham in and said, "What have you done to us? How have I wronged you that you have brought such great guilt upon me and my kingdom? You have done things to me that should not be done." And Abimelech asked Abraham, "What was your reason for doing this?" Abraham replied, "I said to myself, there is surely no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she is really my sister, the daughter of my father, though not of my mother, and she became my wife. And when God had me wander from my father's household, I said to her, 'This is how you can show your love to me. Everywhere we go, say of me, he is my brother.'" Then Abimelech brought sheep and cattle and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham, and he returned Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelech said, "The land is before you. Live wherever you like." To Sarah he said, "I am giving your brother 1,000 shekels of silver. This is to cover the offense against you before all who are with you. You are completely vindicated." Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, his slave girls, so that they could have children again. For the Lord had closed up every womb in Abimelech's household because of Abraham's wife, Sarah. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face towards the ground. And he said, "Behold, now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your ways." And they said, "Nay, but we will abide in the street all night." He pressed upon them greatly. They turned in unto him, and entered into his house, and he made them feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, men of the city, even men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, "Where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them." And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, "I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof." And they said, "Stand back." And they said again, "This one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them?" And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand, and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves the door. And the men said unto Lot, "Hast thou here any besides, son-in-laws, thy sons, thy daughters, whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it." And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-laws, which married his daughters, and said, "Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city." But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-laws. And when the morning arose, the angels hastened Lot, saying, "Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of this city." While he lingered, the men laid upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters. And the Lord being merciful unto them, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, "Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither say thou in all the plain, Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, O not so, my lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life. I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die. Behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it is a very little one. Oh, let me escape thither, it is not a little one, and my soul shall live. And he said unto him, See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also. I will not overthrow this city for which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of this city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered unto Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and then that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord. And he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah, and towards all the land of the plain, and beheld, lo, the smoke of the smoke of the country went up as a smoke of furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow. And when he overthrew the cities in which Lot dwelt, and Lot went up out of Zoar, and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, and he and his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with their father, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow, that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight with my father, let us make him drink wine this night also. Go thou in, and lie with him, that we may preserve the seed of our father. And when they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose, and lay with him, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with a child by their father. The firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. The younger she also bare a son, and called his name Ben-Ami. This is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and Sojourn and Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister. And Abimelech the king of Gerar, and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, Lord, wilt thou slay a righteous nation? And she said he unto me, She is my sister. Even herself said, He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and the innocency of my hands have I done this. And God said unto him in a dream, Yeah, I know that thou didst this in the integrity of thy heart, for I withheld thee from sinning against me. Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that are thine. Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning, and called all his servants, and told all these things in their ears, and the men were sore afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham, and said unto him, What hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not to be done. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What sawest thou that thou hast done this thing? Abraham said, Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. And yet she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, This is thy kindness, which thou shalt show unto me. At every place whither we shall come, say of me, He is my brother. And Abimelech took sheep, oxen, men servants, women servants, and gave them unto Abraham, and restored him Sarah's wife. And Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before thee. Dwell where it pleaseth thee. And unto Sarah he said, Behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes unto all that are with thee, and with all other Thus she was reproved. So Abraham prayed unto God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his manservants and maidservants, and they bare children. For the Lord had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. その二人の見つかりは夕暮れにソドムに着いた。ロトはソドムの門のところに座っていた。ロトは彼らを見るなり、立ち上がって彼らを迎え、顔を地につけて伏して拝んだ。そして言った。さあ、ご主人、どうかあなたのしもべの家に立ち寄り、足を洗ってお泊まりください。そして朝早く旅を続けてください。すると彼らは言った。いや、私たちは広場にとどまろう。しかし、彼がしきりに進めたので、彼らは彼のところに向かい、彼の家の中に入った。ロットは彼らのためにごちそうを作り、種を入れないパンを焼いた。こうして彼らは食事をした。彼らが床につかないうちに、町の者たちにソドムの人々が若い者から年寄りまで全ての人が町の隅々から来て、その家を取り囲んだ。そしてロトに向かって叫んでいった。今夜お前のところにやってきた男たちはどこにいるのか。ここに連れ出せ。彼らをよく知りたいのだ。ロトは戸口にいる彼のところに出て後ろの音を閉めた。そして言った。兄弟たちをどうか悪いことはしないでください。お願いですから、私にはまだ男を知らない二人の娘があります。娘たちを皆の前に連れてきますから、あなた方の好きなようにしてください。ただ、あの人たちは何もしないでください。あの人たちは私の屋根の下に身を寄せたのですから。しかし、彼らは言った。引っ込んでいろ。そしてまた言った。こいつは、よそ者として来たくせに、裁きつかさのように振る舞っている。さあ、お前を、あいつらよりもひどい目に合わせてやろう。彼らはロトの体を激しく押し付け、戸を破ろうと近づいてきた。すると、あの人たちが手を差し伸べ、ロトを自分たちのいる家の中に連れ込んで戸を閉めた。家の戸口にいた者たちは小さいものも大きいものも皆、目つぶしを食らったので、彼らは戸口を見つけようのに疲れ果てた。二人はロトに言った。他にあなたの身内の者はここにいますか。あなたの婿やあなたの息子、娘、あるいは町にいるあなたの身内の者は皆、この場所から連れ出しなさい。私たちはこの場所を滅ぼそうとしているからです。彼らに対する叫びが主の前に大きくなったので、主はこの町を滅ぼすために私たちを使わされたのです。そこでロトは出て行き、娘たちをめとった婿たちに告げていった。立ってこの場所から出て行きなさい。主はこの町を滅ぼそうとしておられるから。しかし、彼の婿たちは、それは冗談のように思われた。夜が明けると、見つかりたちはロトを促していった。さあ、立ってあなたの妻とここの二人の娘たちを連れて行きなさい。さもないとあなたはこの町の咎のために滅ぼし尽くされてしまおう。しかし、彼らはためらっていた。すると、その人たちは彼の手をと彼の妻の手と二人の娘の手を掴んだ。主の彼に対する憐れみによる。そして彼らを連れ出し、町の外に置いた。彼らを外の方に連れ出したとき、その一人は言った。命がけで逃げなさい。後ろを振り返ってはいけない。この低地のどこでも立ちとどまってはならない。山に逃げなさい。さもないと滅ぼされてしまう。ロトは彼に言った。主よ、どうかそんなことになりませんようにご覧ください。このしもべはあなたの心にかない。あなたは私の命を救って大きな恵みを与えてくださいました。しかし私は山に逃げることはできません。災いが追いついて多分私は死ぬでしょう。ご覧ください。あそこの町は逃れるのに近いのです。しかもあんなに小さいのです。どうかあそこに逃げさせてください。あんなに小さいではありませんか。私の命を生かしてください。その人は彼に言った。よろしい。私はこのことでもあなたの願いを入れ、あなたの言うその町を滅ぼすまい。急いでそこへ逃れなさい。あなたがあそこに入るまでは、私は何もできないから、せゆえ、その町の名はゾアルと呼ばれた。太陽が地上に昇ったとき、ロトはツアルに着いた。その時、主はソドムとゴモラの上に、硫黄と火を天の主のところから降らせ、これらの町々と低地全体と、その町々の住民と、その地の食物を皆滅ぼされた。ロトの後ろにいた彼の妻は振り返ったので、潮の柱になってしまった。翌朝早く、アブラハムはかつて、主の前に立ったあの場所に行った。 彼がソドムとゴモラの方、それに低地の全地方を見下ろすと見よ。まるでかまどの煙のようにその地の煙が立ち上っていた。そして神の低地をまちまち滅ぼされたとき、神はアブラハムを覚えておられた。せいでロトが住んでいた町々を滅ぼされたとき、神はロトをその破壊の中から逃れさせた。その後、ロトはツワールを出て、二人の娘と一緒に山に住んだ。彼はツワールに住むのを恐れたからである。彼は二人の娘と一緒にホラ穴の中に住んだ。そうこうするうちに、姉は妹に言った。お父さんは年を取っています。この地にはこの世の習わしのように、私たちのところに来る男の子などいません。さあ、お父さんに酒を飲ませ、一緒に寝てお父さんによって子孫を残しましょう。その夜、彼女たちは父親に酒を飲ませ、姉が入っていき、父と寝た。ロトは彼女は寝たのも起きたのも知らなかった。その翌日、姉は妹に言った。ご覧、昨夜、お父さんと寝ました。今夜もまたお父さんに酒を飲ませましょう。そしてあなたが行って一緒に寝なさい。そして私たちはお父さんによって子孫を残しましょう。そういうのもまた、彼女たちは父に酒を飲ませ、妹が行って一緒に寝た。ロトは彼女は寝たものも起きたのも知らなかった。こうしてロトの二人の娘は父によって身ごもった。姉の男の子を産んで、その子をモアブと名付けた。彼は今日のモアブ人の先祖である。妹もまた男の子を産んで、その子をベン・アミンと名付けた。このは今日のアモン人の先祖である。アブラハムは聖火ネゲブの地方へ移り、ガレシュとシュルの間に住み着いた。テランに滞在中、アブラハムは自分の妻サラのことをこれは私の妹ですと言ったので、ゲラルの王アビマレクは使いをやってサラを召し入れた。ところが神は夢の中でアビマレクのところに来られ、そして仰せられた。あなたが召し入れた女のためにあなたは知らなければならない。あの女は夫のある身である。アビマレクはまた彼女が近づいていなかったので、こう言った。あなたは正しい国民をも殺されるのですか？彼は私に、これは私の妹だと言ったではありませんか。そして彼女自身もこれは私の兄だと言ったのです。私は正しい心と汚れてない手でこのことをしたのです。神は夢の中で彼に仰せられた。そうだ。あなたは正しい心でこのことをしたのを私自身はよく知っていた。それで私も私に罪を犯さないようにしたのだ。それゆえ私はあなたが彼女に触れることを許さなかったのだ。今、あの人の妻を返して命を得させなさい。あの人は預言者であって、あなたのために祈ってくれよ。しかし、あなたが返さなければ、あなたもあなたに属するすべてのものも必ず死ぬことをわきまえなさい。翌朝早く、アビマレクは彼の元しもべを全部呼び寄せ、これらのことを皆語り聞かせたので、人々は非常に恐れた。それからアビマレクはアブラハムを呼び寄せていった。あなたは何ということをしてくれたのだ。あなたが私の王国とに大きな罪をもたらすのは、一体私がどんな罪をあなたに犯したのか。あなたはしてはならないことを私にしたのだ。またアビマレクはアブラハムに言った。あなたはどういうつもりでこんなことをしたのか。アブラハムは答えた。この地方には神を恐れることは全くないので、人々が私の妻のゆえに彼を殺すと思ったからです。また本当にあれは私の妹です。あの女は私の父の娘です。私の母の娘ではありません。それが私の妻になったのです。神が私の父の家からさすらいの旅に出されたとき、私は彼女にこうしてあなたの愛を私のために尽くしておくれ。私が行くどこでも私のことを、この人は私の兄ですと言っておくれと頼んだのです。そこでアビマレクは羊の胸と牛の胸と男女の奴隷たちを取ってきて、アブラハムに与え、またアブラハムの妻、サラを彼に返した。そしてアビマレクは言った。見よ、私の領地があなたの前に広がっている。あなたの良いと思うところに住みなさい。彼はまたさらに言った。ここに銀1000枚をあなたの兄に与える。きっとこれはあなたと一緒にいるすべての人の前であなたを守るものとなろう。これですべて正しいとされよう。そこでアブラハムは神に祈った。 神はアビマレクとその妻、および果たしめたちを癒されたので、彼らはまた子を産むようになった。主がアブラハムの妻、サラのゆえにアビマレクの家のすべての体を固く閉じておられたからである。Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God has promised him. Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah bore him. When his son Isaac was 8 years old, Abraham circumcised him as God commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. She added, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in her old age. The child grew and was weaned. And on the day Isaac weaned, Abraham held a great feast. But Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham was mocking. And she said to Abraham, get rid of the slave woman and her son, for that slave woman's son will never share in the inheritance with my son Isaac. The matter distressed Abraham greatly because it concerned his son. But God said to him, do not be so distressed about the boy and your maidservant. Listen to whatever Sarah tells you. It is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. I'll make the son of the maidservant into a nation also, because he is your offspring. Early the next morning, Abraham took some food and skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He set them on their shoulders and then sent her off with the boy. She went on her way and wandered in the desert of Beersheba. And when the water in the skin was gone, she put the boy under the one of the bushes. Then she went off and sat nearby, about a bull shot away, for she thought, wow, I cannot watch the boy die. Oh. And as she sat nearby, she began to sob. God hearing the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the crying as lies here. Lift the boy up and take him by hand, and I will make him into a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. So she was filled with the skin of water and gave the boy to drink. And God was with the boy, and he grew up. When he lived in the desert and became an archer, he was living in the desert of Paran. His mother got a wife for him in Egypt. At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of the forces, said to Abraham, God is with you in everything you do. Now swear to me before the Lord that you will not deal falsely with me or my children or my descendants. Show to me in the country where you are living as an alien the same kindness I will show you. Abraham said, I swear it. Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about the well of water that Abimelech's servant had seized. But Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this. You did not tell me, and I heard it about it only today. So Abraham brought sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and 2 men made a treaty. And Abraham set apart the ewe lambs from the flock. And Abimelech asked Abraham, what is the meaning of those ewe lambs that you have set apart by yourselves? He replied, accept these 7 lambs from my hand as a witness that I dug the well. So that place was called Beersheba because the 2 men swore an oath there. And the treaty had made the Beersheba. Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his forces, returned to the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a carmistry in Beersheba. And there he called upon the name of the Lord, the eternal God. And Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines for a long time. Sometime later, God tested Abraham, and he said to him, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on the mountains I will tell you about. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and saddled his donkeys. He took him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out for the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. And he said to his servant, stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. You will worship, and then we will come back to you. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife. And the 2 of them went together. Isaac spoke and said to his father Abraham, Father, yes, my son, Abraham replied. The fire and wood are here, Isaac said, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham answered, God himself will provide provide a lamb for the burnt offering, my son. And the two of them went on together. When they had reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on the top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took a knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Or I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld me from your son, your only son. Abraham looked up, and there in the thicket saw a ram caught by its horns. He went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering to his son. So Abraham called that place, the Lord will provide. And to this day it is said, on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. The angel of the Lord called to Abraham from heaven a second time, and he said, I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this, and have not withheld your son, your only son, I'll surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars of the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring all nations of the earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me. Then Abraham returned to his servants, and they set off together for Beersheba, and Abraham stayed in Beersheba. Sometime later, Abraham was told, Milcah, also a mother, she has borne sons to your brother Nahor. Uz the firstborn, Buz his brother, Kemuel the father of Aram, Kadesh, Hazo, Pildash, Jilapah, and Bethuel. Bethuel became the father of Rebekah. Milcah bore these 8 sons to Abraham's brother Nahor. His concubines, whose name was Remah, had also sons, Teba, Geham, Tahash, and Mecca. 主は約束された通り、サラを顧みて仰せられた通りに主はさらになさった。主は身ごもり、そして神がアブラハムに言われた、その時期に、年老いたアブラハムに男の子を産んだ。アブラハムは自分に生まれた子、サラが自分に産んだ子をイサクと名付けた。そしてアブラハムは神が彼に命じられた通り、8日目になって自分の子イサクに風を施した。アブラハムはその子イサクが生まれた時は100歳であった。サラは言った。神は私を笑わせました。聞く者は皆、私に向かって笑うでしょう。また彼女は言った。誰がアブラハムにサラが子供に乳を飲ませよと告げたのでしょう。ところが私はあの年寄りにこう見ました。その子は育って乳離れした。アブラハムはイサクの乳離れの日に盛大な宴会を催した。その時サラはエジプトの女、ハガルがアブラハムに産んだ子が自分の子イサクのかからっているのを見た。そこでアブラハムに言った。この私めをその子と一緒に追い出してください。この私めの子は私の子イサクと一緒に跡取りになるべきではありません。このことは自分の子に関することなので、アブラハムは非常に悩んだ。すると、神はアブラハムに仰せられた。その少年とあなたは私めのことで悩んではならない。サラがあなたということは皆、言う通りに聞き入れなさい。イサクから出るものがあなたの子孫と呼ばれるからだ。しかし、私めの子も私は一つの国民としよう。彼もあなたの子だから。朝早くアブラハムはパンと水との皮袋を取ってハガルに与え、それを彼女の肩に乗せ、その子と共に彼女を送り出した。それで彼女はベールシバの荒野にさまよい歩いた。皮袋の水がついたとき、彼女はその子を一本の干木の下に投げ出し、自分は矢の届くほどの穴開いた向こうに行って座った。そして彼女が私の子供を死ぬのを見せないでくださいと思ったからである。そして穴開いて座ったのである。そして彼女は声を上げて泣いた。神は少年の声を聞かれ、神の使いは天からハガルを呼んで言った。ハガルどうしたのか、恐れてはならない。神があそこにいる少年の声を聞かれたからだ。言ったあの少年を起こし、力をつけなさい。私はあの子を大いなる国民とするから。神がハガルの目を開かれたので、彼女は色を見つけた。それで行って皮袋を水に満たし、少年を飲ませた。神が少年と共に会えたので、彼は成長し、荒野に住んで、夢を見るものとなった。こうして彼はハランの荒野に住み着いた。彼の母はエジプトの国から彼らのために妻を迎えた。その頃はアビマレクの将軍ピコルがアブラハムに告げて言った。 あなたが何をしても神はあなたと共におられるせいで、今ここで神によって私に誓ってください。私も私の親類縁者たちも裏切らないと。そして私があなたに尽くした真実にふさわしく、あなたは私にも、またあなたが滞在しているこの土地にも真実を尽くしてください。するとアブラハムは私は誓いますと言った。またアブラハムはアビマレクのしもべとが奪い取った井戸のことでアビマレクに抗議した。アビマレクは答えた。誰がそのようなことをしたのか知りませんでした。誠にあなたもまた私に告げなかったし、私もまた今日まで聞かなかったことなかったのです。そこでアブラハムは羊と牛とを取ったアビマレクに与え、二人は契約を結んだ。アブラハムは羊の胸から7頭の子羊により分けた。するとアビマレクは今、あなたより分けたこの7頭のオスのメスの子羊は一体どういうわけですかとアブラハムに告げた。アブラハムは私がこの井戸を掘ったという証拠となるため、7頭のメスの子羊を私の手から受け取ってくださいと答えた。それゆえ、その場所はベールシバと言われた。そのところで彼らが二人が誓ったからである。彼らがベールシバで契約を結んだから、アビマレクとその将軍ピコルとは立ってペリシテ人の地に帰った。アブラハムはベールシバ一本の柳の木を植え、そのところで永遠の神、主の皆によって祈った。アブラハムは長い間ペリシテ人の地に滞在した。これらの出来事の後、アブラハムは試練に遭わされた。神は彼にアブラハムよと呼びかけると、彼ははい、ここにおりますと答えた。神は仰せられた。あなたの子、あなたの愛している一人子イザクを連れて、モライアの地に行きなさい。そして私があなたに示す一つの山の上で、全焼の生贄としてイザクを私に捧げなさい。翌朝早くアブラハムは、ロバに蔵をつけ、二人の若い者と息子イサクと一緒に連れて行った。彼は全焼の生贄のために焚き木を割った。こうして彼は神がお告げになった場所へ出て行った。3日目にアブラハムが目を上げると、その場所がはるかに見えた。そしてアブラハムは若い者たちに、あなた方はロバと一緒にここに残っていなさい。私と子供はあそこに行き、礼拝をしてあなたのところに戻ってくると言った。アブラハムは全焼の生贄のために焚き木を取り、その杖をその子、イサクに負わせ、火と体と自分の手に取り、二人は一緒に進んでいった。イサクは父アブラハムに話しかけていった。お父さん、すると彼はなんだイサクと答えた。イサクは尋ねた。火と焚きがありますか？全焼の生贄のための石はどこにあるのですか？アブラハムは答えた。イサク、神ご自分が全焼の生贄の羊を備えてくださるのだ。こうして二人は一緒に歩き続けた。二人は神がアブラハムに告げられた場所に着き、アブラハムはそのところに祭壇を築いた。そして焚き木を並べ、自分の子イサクを縛り、祭壇の上の焚き木の上に置いた。アブラハムは手を伸ばし、刀を取って自分の子をほふろうとした。その時、主の使いが天から彼を呼び、アブラハム、アブラハムと仰せられた。彼は答えた。はい、ここにおります。見つから仰せられた。あなたの手をその子に下してはならない。その後に何をしてはならない。今私はあなたが神を恐れることをよく分かった。あなたは自分の一人子を惜しまないで私に捧げた。アブラハムは目を上げてみると、見よ、角が藪に、引っかかっている一頭のお羊がいた。アブラハムは言って、そのお羊を取り、それを自分のこの代わりに全焼の生贄として捧げた。そうしてアブラハムはその場所、アドナイ・イエルと名付けた。今日も山の上には備えがあると言い伝えられている。それから主の使いは再び天からアブラハムを呼んで仰せられた。これは主の見つけである。私は自分にかけて誓う。あなたがこのことをし、あなたの一人の子を惜しまなかったから。私は確かにあなたを大いに祝福し、あなたの子孫、空の星、海辺の砂のように数多く増し加えよう。そしてあなたの子孫は、そう敵の門からを打ち勝取るであろう。あなたの子孫によって、すべての国々が祝福を受けるようになる。あなたが私の声に聞き従ったからである。こうしてアブラハムは若者たちのところに戻った。彼は立って一緒にベールシバに行った。アブラハムはベールシバに住み着いた。これからの出来事、アブラハムに次のことが伝えられた。ミルガはまた、その兄弟、ナホルに子供を産みました。すなわち、長男がウツ、その弟、ブズ、それにアラムの父であるケムエル、次にゲセで、ハゾ、ピルダッシュ、 イレラクスだ、それに、ベトエルです。ベトエルはリベカを生んだ。ミルカはこれら8人をアブラムの兄弟ナホルに生んだのである。ネオマというナホルのそばめもあったテブラ、ガハム、タハシュ、マーカを生んだ。